As we continue our tour around the suspect football across the state of North Carolina over the weekend, next up is the NC State Wolfpack. Wake Forest not only won the game, Wake Forest exposed what is wrong with NC State this year. It's the trenches. It's the offense and defensive line. It's something that we all took for granted, and I'll be the first to put my hand up and go, I missed it. Part of me, I believe, was maybe trusting the coaching staff that if you're spending all of this offseason energy on wide receivers and running backs and quarterbacks and defensive backs and tight ends, that you must have been content, you must have been pleased, you must have been expecting good things from your offense and defensive lines as they stood, or else you would have spent surely some of that money, some of that resource, some of that NIL on the offense and defensive lines. And the fact that they didn't, I guess it's like taking their word for it that they must have been okay. They're getting pushed around. First of all, and we should have said this at the beginning, the Grayson McCall injury, that hit, his history with those types of situations is extremely scary. If you didn't see it, Grayson McCall, who dealt with a concussion last year, had missed the past couple of games with an injury. Kind of a surprise start. I was not expecting him to play in this game. Running, had a 9-yard run, took on 3 defenders head on, helmet pops off, he's on the ground, scary situation. Parents there, they looked very, very afraid, as they should. Luckily, Grayson McCall, the report since then, by the way, he's the starting quarterback at the beginning of the year for State. We have heard that he's out of the hospital, scans are positive, so, very thankful, very grateful for all of that. From a football perspective, I would get the urge to blame that, to say we just watched one of our leaders, one of our captains, one of our quarterbacks get into a very scary situation, get on the stretcher, be pulled out, all of it. And in some ways I would grant you the grace of saying, if you just saw your buddy, your friend, somebody you trust and are very close with go through that, it'd be tough. But you took a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter well after that play. That play you could argue was a 14-point swing, and you battled your way back to take a 10-point fourth quarter lead. Then you lost it. That's the part that becomes inexcusable. And also, C.J. Bailey didn't play bad after Grayson McCall left with the injury.
Had a pretty decent day.
So it's very hard to blame that, other than saying you never want to see it. And it's because I believe about halfway through that second half, Wake Forest looked around and said, why are we playing around? We can push this team around. After NC State took a 10-point fourth quarter lead. This is in the fourth quarter, mind you. This is the next series for Wake. I'll read you the results of the plays, and then I'll break down why I'm doing that. 2-yard run for the running back. 6-yard run for the running back. 5-yard run with a running back. A pass play, sack, fumble, recovered by Wake, so they keep the ball, but a 2-yard loss. Next play, incomplete pass. Roughing the passer. First down for Wake. Incomplete pass, 1-yard run with the running back, 16-yard run with the quarterback, 32-yard run for a touchdown with the running back. That's the play. That's the drive that takes it from a 10-point game to a 3-point game. That's the drive that takes it from State not only is ahead, they have a 2-score lead, they have a cushion, and you like your chances quite a bit, to a 3-point game. And a 3-point game, it's not a coin flip, but it's definitely up for grabs. That's the drive. On run plays, they had 62 yards with no negative plays. On pass plays, they had 13 yards with 15 yards coming by way of penalty. Yes, 13, the total you had on pass plays, was less than the amount you got on one roughing the passer. Wake came into the game top 5 in passing yards in the ACC, bottom 5 in rushing yards in the ACC per game. They threw for the thing they were good at, the thing they had leaned on in other games. They threw for 154 yards on 4.8 yards per attempt. They ran for 161 yards on 5.2 yards per attempt. They ran for more yards per play when they chose to run it than they did on pass attempts. That's how you take over late in a game. That's how you take over when players get tired. That's how you recognize, oh, we need to stop trying to finesse this bad boy and start punching him in the face. Dave Doeren on Wake Forest taking over late in the game. Here he is post-game.
They made plays and we didn't. Earlier in the game, we were stymieing them on third down. I mean, I don't have great eyes right here, but they were 3 of 11 on third down, but they were 3 of 3 on fourth. And so those conversions were the difference. They were able to stay on the field, which flipped the time of possession, in those last 11 minutes their way.
Yeah. Flipping time of possession. How do you do that? You run the ball. Picking up fourth downs. I mean, it's the bully thing. If you're Dave Doeren, by the way, what is Dave Doeren's identity? We ain't going to get bullied, right? We may not always be the prettiest team. We may not always be the highest of flying teams, but we're going to play defense and we're going to be physical. NC State's offense, I thought C.J. Bailey, they cut him loose. He did okay. They can't run the ball. 29 runs is a good dedication to the run. 29 carries is a good dedication to the run. 3.6 yards per rush is not enough, especially against a team in Wake Forest that was in the top 2 for rushing yards allowed in the Atlantic Coast Conference coming into the game. I don't think it's a blame, we had a freshman quarterback. The freshman quarterback made some throws. Freshman quarterback did some things. Justin Jolie, your tight end, I think is playing his way up NFL draft boards. He is one of the few transfers that is truly living up to and maybe even exceeding some expectations. But when the running game can't get it going, and not only that, you're not even making the other team expend more resources to stop your running game, it becomes more difficult to get Casey Concepcion going. It becomes more difficult to get Noah Rogers going. It becomes more difficult to make the high-flying pieces that you did bring in with the NIL money or did retain with the NIL money effective. This one stings. It goes back to what I said at the beginning of the show. You don't get mad at losses you don't get mad at wins is what Dave Doeren said as he underperformed against that team underperformed against a bunch of group of 5 teams. Right? An inch or a mile. You don't get mad at wins. Let's obey your rules there and say if you don't get mad at wins, you do get mad at losses, right? If you don't get mad at wins, what happens when you give up a double-digit fourth quarter lead? You do get mad at those, right? Everybody has a right to be mad at this one. Matter of fact, as we said, every fan of just about every team in the Triangle has a right to be mad at these.
I mean, NC State has not won back-to-back games so far this season, and their only wins have come up against either Group of 5 or FCS schools.
I mean, if you want to zoom in, zoom out, that's the big picture right there. Put together back-to-back really good performances. Beat a Power 5 team. Power 4? What do we call it now? Power 4.
Just a power conference team.
Beat an ACC opponent. Don't get mad after wins. Well, how about you win a couple in a row? By the way, Brett McMurphy, national reporter covering college football, put out his projections for bowl games.
Yep.
Guess who's not in a bowl game?
UNC or State?
I actually didn't even look up UNC, but NC State is not.
Well, if the trend keeps up, I don't know. I don't know. I'm done making predictions. Done.
Well, and actually that is in a lot of ways where I'm at with both UNC and NC State, where I'm going I still think it could click. I still think there's something there that could shift into place and they'd get it. But I mean, we're halfway through the season roughly at the moment. I mean, not halfway, but just short of. How long do you wait? How long do you go? No, give him a chance. Give him a chance.